Hi, I'm Kale Klein here at the Tournament of Champions with Joel Tickner and Jessie Irvine. Jessie, where are your home courts and who do you usually play with?
So I live in LA, and my home courts are actually this private house. His name is Jeff, and he took a tennis court and he built like 4 pickleball courts on it. And basically, it's become kind of like a pickleball hangout spot. So like all my friends will come in, we'll play. I'll play with Jeff Warnick. Like whenever Arena or some of the other pros are in town, they'll come over there and hang out. We'll practice probably usually twice a week over there, and we're there for a good 6-7 hours, just playing pickleball, hanging out, having a good time. So it's a good environment to be in.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun.
How did you get introduced to the sport of pickleball?
So I used to play pop tennis. So I'm originally from tennis, and then a few years ago I started playing pop/paddle tennis. And a guy named Roberto Donati he initially told me about pickleball. He was like, hey, paddle/pop is not really going anywhere. There's not a lot of tournaments, not a lot of players. But the sport called pickleball is starting to grow. It's starting to become more competitive, more tournaments, more money. You should really get involved and start trying it. And that was basically at the end of around November of 2018 is when I started playing pickleball.
Who is a hero of yours outside of pickleball?
Oh, this is easy, my dad. He's a huge fan and supporter of my pickleball. He's always been kind of my athletic supporter. So when I was playing tennis, he was the one that I always kind of went to for strategy. And even now, as I'm playing pickleball, he starts watching my matches and he gives me strategic tips. But he's absolutely my hero because when he was younger, in his teens, he used to play table tennis. And he was very good. And he lived in a country called Jamaica. And at the age of 16, he was asked to play for his country for the Olympics. But because of how small the country is, and because at that time he was also offered kind of a full scholarship to go to America for school, his parents thought, well, school is way more important at that point just because it's Jamaica. So at that point they thought you need to get out of Jamaica to get your good education. So he wasn't able to kind of live out his dreams, but he's very supportive of me living out mine. So, yes.
Yeah, that's a great story. Do you have a favorite go-to food on tournament day?
Oh, yes, I have a few. So I always do the same thing. I'm like clockwork. I always go to the store the day before. I get Hawaiian bread. I get slices of white cheddar cheese. I'll get some fruit. And then my secret weapon is a flask of Malibu rum that I sip throughout the tournaments. It is my go-to.
All right, what do you like to do when you're not playing pickleball?
Ooh, probably watch shows, or watch pickleball, study pickleball, talk about pickleball, have debates about pickleball. No, but I think, just watching shows, having ice cream, just relaxing, just because I am, the sport is becoming so serious and it's becoming more professional. So, there's a lot of training, off-court training, on-court training. There is a lot of studying, watching. So my wind down is just to sit and relax and just watch Netflix.
Yes. Does anyone else in your family play pickleball?
Ooh, so my dad and my sisters just started. So the last time I went home, when they saw me kind of starting to play, we all went out on the court and we kind of just tried it a little bit. My dad really likes it. He likes the strategic side of it. It's like chess. That's what he compares it to. He's like, oh, there's a lot of moving pieces, and the better players think 2 or 3 steps ahead, and so they're starting to get inside. I think they like watching me play more than actually playing it, but my family's starting to play.
What is your opinion on the spin serve?
Ooh, so that's a tricky one. I don't mind it. I think the rules need to become a little bit clearer. Meaning, I think if you use one hand, perfectly fine. I think the 2 hands is it almost seems a little gimmicky. And most other sports that have a racket, paddle, whatever, it's one hand when they toss. Table tennis, squat, like it's all tennis, one hand. So I think if they can kind of get the rules to where you can do whatever you want with your one hand, and then also I think not hiding it. That's the other thing I'm not a fan of when people turn, because it's like they set for the drop serve. Like initially when you drop the ball to serve, you can't hide the ball. The opponent has to be able to see the ball. So I think that's another thing. Whereas like when you turn your back, like you don't actually know what's going on. So I think I don't mind the spin serve. I think they just need to clean it up a little bit and just kind of get it, because we are trying to make the sport grow and become more professional. And I think the two hands or off the paddle just looks a little gimmicky. That's my opinion. But if you do whatever you can do with one hand, I think go for it.
Yes, that's a great way of putting it.
Yeah.
If you had to pick one, what would be your favorite Tournament of Champions memory or victory?
Ooh, 2019 with Ben Johns. Because again, I had started November of 2018, so kind of 2019 was really my first year of just even playing pickleball, and he asked me to play, and I was so nervous, and he was a great partner the whole time, and even in our finals, in our gold medal match, I had injured my left shoulder and I couldn't lift it up, and he just was like, Jessie, just make balls and just make it with your right hand and do one hand backhand. And that's kind of how my one hand backhand started, was actually at that tournament, because I couldn't lift up my left arm, so I started hitting all these one hand backhands. But I would say that was probably the most memorable TOC moment, was because again, it was my first year and the venue was amazing, being on center court with all the fans, and it was an amazing experience for me.
Yeah, you guys sure played well together. Well, thank you for your time today, Jessie, and have a great rest of the tournament.